Well, this is an insert that I'm making gonna try to insert it into a shir in the OTZROT Chaim, which is the basic fundamental, you would say beginners, but in order to be able to understand this book, you can't be just a beginner in Torah. So for those who wish to begin the study of Kabbalah, this is we call the Medura Tinyana. It's the second series of the Chaim. It's the most complete of the three series. The first series is called the Medura Kama, then the Medura Tinyana, which is also known by the names the OTZROT Chaim, which is really, it means the storehouse, the treasure house of Chaim Vital, Rabbi Chaim Vital, and then Medura Basra. So this is in between. Covers many, many deep secrets. So if you hear you're in a shul and the rabbi quotes something from the ARI says this, and it's always very, very authoritative. Well, over here you're actually learning the words of the ARI himself. So I messed up the shir a little bit this morning because we started the shir, and I forgot to turn on the camera. So I'm coming back. I'm going to try it again and see if I'm zoicha to insert this. I really, I'm not technologically wise. So this is where we start in Membase, and we went over to the next page, and that's when I realized, I think, that I hadn't turned on the camera. So let's see what it says. This is page, like I say, Membase. So the first thing is we're going to do this blurb at the top. Is bar shachakelim the akudim, that we're explaining over here that the kelim and the akudim nishavo al pi al yedei, and they come into being through this process shaha oros chazro la'alos b'peh da'ak, that the lights come back and they return to go up and into the mouth of Adam Kadmon. So now we're going to read, this is number test 9, I'm going to read over here. Like I say, it's like a few pieces that I have to bring in here because, what can I say? I'm not much of a broadcaster. So he says, Va'inyan ki bevadai hu shebechinas hakli choy b'koach. Always the possibility of a kli was always there. Afilu ki lo choy b'pol b'tocha, or even if it wasn't actually working inside of the light itself, but it was there. Ki choy bechinas or hayoser gaz va'av. So he's telling us that there's two different kinds of light here. There's a light that's more refined and a light that's less refined, which he calls fat, or he said big and thick. But in their roots, they're one light. So therefore, you couldn't see that there was a second aspect to the light. Because as the light comes out through the mouth and goes outwards, everything is mixed in together. So now he says, how the lights go back to the ma'atzel. So here he's mentioning that the lights are going to go back. What does that mean? Hezber, who's now explains like this. When we say that they're coming, the kelim come out of the peda'ak. It's not that they come out just like kelim. There were two separate entities. What I want to say is, so it's only one light, and it's a grafted light. It's a light that has two different aspects to it. Achazi or zak, one is very refined light, ubahir, and very bright. That's what the Rav calls here. He says this is called the light. V'hasheni hu or vagas, but the second part of the light is a thick, big part. Because after the Horazak separates from it, Yase Bechinas Kli. That's what's going to be the Bechina of a Kli. So now that the lights are coming out of the mouth, so we said the lights are coming out. So there's Or from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu coming through the mouth of At. It's coming out, it's outside now. He says, even though we understand that there's a kli in there, you can't distinguish it. Or kologama or avagas, that the light is also incorporated with a thicker element to it. Since it's still mixed up with the or hazak hamachuber heti, which is really, really attached to it. So therefore you really don't see the aspect of the kli that's working. So for kalim to come about, so you have to separate them. So he said, so now the light is going to be attracted to go back to where it came from. Now this could be the beginning of the concept of repentance, the concept of self-examination or trying to pray to God. But this is way early, way early. There's no man at this point. So as the light goes back to its root, to become completed, we talked about, he says. So as the light comes out of the mouth, that aspect, which is the thicker part, it gets thicker because it's getting further away from the pad da'ak. So therefore, in this way, it's not able to go back to its root, like at the beginning. But at the same time, the or hazak can be, so it separates from it. So this is a principle here that the light wants to be completed. It wants to be not just the light, it wants to be full of the light of the Ein Sof as much as it could possibly absorb. And it doesn't have it so it wants to go back. But the thicker part of the light can't go back. So it becomes thicker than it was originally thick. And then you see is completed and remains the aspect of a kli, the thick part. So now the Tiv writes, how in fact did these two lights separate? He named his bar lamala, explained above, there are three different types of levels that we speak about the light of the Ein Sof. The one is Panemius Ha'or, that's the inside of everything, which is the Guf of the Ak, which is inside of the Guf of the Ak, is the Chut Ein Sof Baruch Hu, is the thread, if it's possible to say thread, but we can understand it as an old-time thermometer or an outdoor thermometer that measures, goes up and down and a line. This is the thread of the Ein Sof, which is inside of everything, V'hu hamadrega al yona beyoser, this is the most high level. Now, high in Kabbalah also means the most preliminary level, the most panemi, it's the word panemistic level. Number two is the Gufa da'ak, Shulchan madrega pechusa b'manut, which is a letter, which is less than it. That's the Gufa da'ak. Ak is body itself. Radiates. Or the third one is a or hayotzim begufa da'ak that comes out of the guf of ak. Agam shuhu or hayotzim bepanemius ak. Even though we say that the lights they came from the panemius da'ak, which is the inside of the thermometer, so to speak, which is the line, as this is possible to say of the Ein Sof. So he said hayotzim bepanemius ak atzmo. Bekevin shuhu yotza the hudz derek gufa da'ak. So since it goes out through the body of ak, it becomes thicker, and its light becomes weaker. So therefore, what its level is in between Panemius Ak, the Gufa Ak. So let's go back to the light that's coming out of the mouth of Ak. So as it gets away from the Panemius, it gets thicker automatically. It causes that the thicker, more gross part of that's inside of mis'ava v'ivui godol, it become much thicker. And to become perfected, it is not able to go back into the mouth of Ak, into the inside of Ak. But that other part, the refined light, that's mixed up with this light which is so thick, it doesn't get that much thicker as a result of moving away from the pad Ak. So therefore, as the light of the akudim goes back to go into the mouth of Ak, to the mouth of Ak, Nifrad or Chazak min or Ha'av, you see now there's a separation between the thick light and the refined light. For Chazak choizer the vada the pad Ak, and that is able to go back to its beginning and become more complete. Now the Indian of its completeness is not really dealt with here, but that's the pattern. So Chavechedeka or Ha'av Ragas Nishar b'makomo does not move. Machmashin is ma'od because it became very thick. It's heavy. It cannot go back. So there it remains outside of this, that is outside of the Pada'ak, or ha'av mezenis havara bechinas hakli, and from here, that's where the idea of a kli starts. The kli, which is called hakli de hakudim, which can actually be divided into 10 different parts. Shabo Asida his lavish Esses Sephiros the Akudim, because in those 10 different parts is where the 10 spheres of the Akudim are ultimately going to be lodged. Now he says, remember Yod Ches. V'im Tomer, if you should say, Im came kasher yachzor ha'or hazak lered l'hispashtet beklika b'rishona, if it goes back, the light goes back, this, in other words, the or hazak, the refined light, lered, to go back down to this pasha beklika b'rishona, and it's going to go into the kli just like it used to be. Yaksav yizdake kaklika b'rishona, what's going to happen is that the kli will still be right back like what it used to be, before there was a separation, and we want a separation. Hakli shabirishona yizbatochem at the yosuk bechinas kli. So yesh lahakshos im al yedei she'alach ha'oraz the hakuda the matzilim nifra, the or, that idea was to separate the or hazak min the or ha'av, that was the idea there, so you could make a kli. Vayedei zeh na'asa kli the hakudim, and in this way that it makes a kli for hakudim. Shabo asidim lihislavish oras the kudim, and later the lights of the akudim are going to be inside of that. Kasha. Mahar Vachna, what do we gain out of this? Bezeh haloha oras yotzim b'chazara minepeh el kli the akudim. It comes back from the mouth, goes back into the kli. And if the av part is there with the zach part, they're going to become one. That's not what you want. So now as the lights come back into their kelim again, so the kli will become more refined again, and they'll mix together the thick with the refined. But this basel kli, there won't be any kli left. So this idea of refining the kli, we already talked about this at the beginning of the parak, where we talked about the or makif, mizakek sonius hakli. It's able to refine the outside of the kli. We're talking about kli now. Vor panimi mizakek panimis hakli. So you could get some refinement there. Not sure what he meant to say by bringing that to us. What if there's anything that I missed there? Well, this is, I think, the end of where I did not insert. So now I'll try to insert this.
A chilik that's zach and a chilik that's av, the zach part doesn't get any thicker. Lenis av and kolkach, it doesn't get more thick. So only the thicker part, the already thick part, gets thicker, but the more refined part doesn't get thicker. L'chein, and therefore k'sha'ar the akudim chayzer lales the pedak, when it goes back up to the pedak, nifrad or hazach min or ha'av, they separate the refined light from the thicker light, but or hazach chayzer levadai, the pedak, it returns by itself without the or av that was previously with it. Chelik ha'or ha'av ha'gas nishar b'mekayma. It stays where it was. Because it became so thick, ve'ina yachol lales, and it doesn't have the ability to go back up. So therefore, nishar b'chutz or ha'av. The or ha'av stays outside the kuf of ak. Uvizen is hava b'chinas hakli da'akudim hakol me'asara chalokim, that has in it 10 parts. Shabai asidim lehislabesh asaro eser sviros da'akudim.
Okay.
So this thick light, is going to be the lavush of the 10 spheres of Akudim, which we didn't talk about yet. But those are.
Well, he actually says, said it here. He says that they're going, we didn't talk about the 10 lights inside. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on. Number Yud Ches says, V'im tomer im kem kasher yachzer or hazar. Lerid hispashe b'kli b'rishona. But when the light goes back, and it'll go back into the kli again, yachzer v'yizdake kakli, it'll come back, refine the kli again, keberishona, v'yizbato mechli yosef b'chidas kli, and it will no longer be a kli anymore because it'll be back in the original situation that it was before. So
a mixture of Arzach and Arav.
Yeah, and it'd be one light. So he says,
basically ruin it.
Yes. So what did the Ma'atzel do? Yesh Hakshos, so he says, the Tiv says, Im al yedei sha'alu ha'oros the Hakudim the Ma'atzilam. It goes back to the Ma'atzel. Nifra da or hazak min or ha'av. So we agree with that, so we understand that. By yedei se na'asa kli the Hakudim, and this way it makes a kli for the Hakudim. Shabo asidin the hislavish oros the akudim, and in that kli you're going to have the lights of the akudim are going to come into it, but it's a kasha. What do we get out of this? Halo ha'oros yotze b'chazara minapel al kli akudim, and it goes back into the kli. Because yeshuva ha'oros lekonda bekela yizdake kakli shuhu ha'or ha'av, then it will re-refine that kli. Bis'arev b'chazara ela or ima or chazak, and they'll go back to mix again. This banzel called bechinas a kli, there won't be an aspect of the kli. The kudim va'inyan zikuch hakli bir harab the el b'techidas haperek. So he apparently talked about this at the very beginning. He said she'or hamakif mezakef v'chitzon yuso hakli. Remember that we had the or makif. It has the ability to refine the outside of the kli. So you'll be back into that, and everything will be nice and smooth. Or back to the same stage. Back to the same stage, yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
So the answer to this question is what I already spoke about in a different place. Lachzar v'leired kulam, because all the 10 spheres that were nis'ala b'mekayram, that went up to their source.
Yeah, the peda'ak.
The peda'ak, okay. The leired kulam, and they should go back down. It's not all 10 of them.
Well, he says,
Amnam hatisha levadam yardu, only 9 of them come back down. V'el yoina, the top one, shua keser, nishar tamid sham im hamatzel, that stays behind with the matzel, which is the pneumius, the pneumi of ak. So the Tiv explains, Vayishav lazehu ki'ilu hayu oisam ha'eres hazakim sha'alu. If the lights that left the kli when it got thicker, when they went back up, chayzrim lehislavish ba'ar ha'av, they would go back into the ar then kol ar b'chelek hakli ha'shayach elav, all the light that was in the, they would all that light would return. Vaday shahesum es batalas b'chinas akli migodol ha'ar hazach. Of course, then for sure, the ar hazach would indeed ruin the b'chinas akli. There would not be any kli of akudim. However, that's not the way it is. Ela ar hakeser, the top or of the 10 spheres, loy chazar b'chazar l'redes lamata. It doesn't come back down. When the Arzach comes back down, it leaves a little bit of the Ar behind. Ela nishar tamid davuk b'matzila shu peda'ak. It stick the Ar of Keser stays behind in the peh of Ak. It doesn't come back down. The Ak ela tisha Aris levad, only a little bit less light. So it sounds like if it doesn't have that original quality of the Ar Hazach, then it doesn't have the ability to ruin the Keli.
only if all the light would come back down would be of the same quality that went back up, then it would indeed ruin the Bechinas Keli. Being that a little bit of it stays behind at the Da'ak, and only 9 of the Eres come down, then it doesn't have the ability to ruin the status of the Keli.
Okay, now in the third line from the black print, it says, I guess it's the second line. On the word kol, it's the last word on the line. It says kol or b'chelik hakli hashayach alav. So that's a point that's important. It has to do with all of the light of the kli, which belongs to it. Now, what belongs to what? So he's saying that actually the light has stations, so to speak, in the kli. And as long as that is, the Kesser goes into the key of Kli of Kesser, we're going to see like that, the Chochmah goes into Kli of Chochmah. But what happens if the Kesser doesn't come back? So there is going to be a Kli, a place for each one of them to go together, but doesn't go together like it used to. Let's go on to the next part. So he says like this, Uvazeh timsa ki or ha-chochmah. It's the light of Chochmah. That's the one shechazach of the hislavish b'kli of Kesser. Now, so he's telling us that there were stations. I call it the Kli part of this Kli, the Kesser part of the Kli doesn't go back.
Meaning the Kli is made up of 10 stations?
That's what it sounds like. That's what he's saying. Right. So the first place would be the thick part, which is called the Kesser part, which we could just understand as far as the Kli is concerned. That's going to be the top part. So he says, so now we're looking a little bit microscopically into the Kli. So he said, but what happens is since the Kesser remains in the Pada'ak, and that's when he says the matzah.
Like an empty seat.
What? I'm sorry? Yeah, you say an empty seat? He said, well, it's there. That's right. The seat is not going to be empty, but instead of having the light of Kesser in the Kli of Kesser, it's going to have the light of Chochmah in the Kli of Kesser.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
the light of Chochmah doesn't know that it's in the wrong place.
I don't know that it has a bit of knowledge. I don't know if that's the issue. Is it doesn't know it's in the wrong place? It's the pattern of the matzah. This is what the matzah wants.
Okay.
V'chein shar hasphiros, all the rest of the spheros. So all of them are going to be one short of the lights going into the kalim. Now let's just think for a second. What are going to be the parts of the kalim? Well, they're going to be from Kesser to Malchus. So this is just a little preview of coming attractions. Is that if you take 9 and you put it into 10, so what's going to be at the bottom? It's going to be empty.
Empty.
Right. V'chein shara spheros v'yecholim ha'kelim. So therefore the kelim are not going to have any problem. Let me see. I'll turn my page here. They're not going to have any problem, unless maybe I still got 2 pages stuck together again. Or maybe I don't. Problem, okay, sorry, I'm getting a little mixed up. He says, V'yecholim ha'kelim makabel, so the kelim now could be makabel or ha'fu ha'moed, mimena, which is a lesser light. Doesn't have any problem holding that light. They're not going to mix. Mamasha hoya lechem kodem, which was the case before that. The v'zera v'nimsa k'shechazrecha ba'oras lehislavish b'kelim, kli ha'keser dechakudim lo mislavish b'socha or ha'keser, ela or ha'chochma. V'chein kli ha'chochma lo mislavish b'socha or ha'chochma, ela or ha'bina. V'chein kulam ba'ofen shakli ha'yisod mislavish b'socha or ha'malchus, that the kli of yisod will be inside of the or of malchus will be inside of the kli of yisod. Kli ha'malchus nishar lo or klal. It's going to be empty. Nimsa she'or ha'yotze b'chazara. So now it comes out like this. The light that's going back in returning, we'll call it returning light. It's not the same light when it comes back again like it originally was. Shahari called kli kibel or memoet. There's going to be a lesser light that's coming into it. Which was, now we have a concept of the first Vispashtas, and it's mashma that there's going to be a second Vispashtas. Oh, well, we're in it. So this is the reason that in also, as the lights are coming back, so this allows the kalim to to remain. They have light within inside of them, and they're not doing nothing. They're doing their thing. The nimsa shachakelim av shehem yoser ave min oros hazachim bebechinas hasfiros hem gedolim b'madrega achas yoser min oros. But in one way, if we talk about it in the, what does he say? Bebechinas hasfiros hem gedolim b'madrega achas yoser min oros, because you're going to have the kli of keser. It's going to have a light in it, but it's a light in the kli of chokhmah. Yeah, shachakli minas sfira al yon this lavish boha or shu b'sfira shalamata b'mena. That's what it's going to be. Ad kan is boyer ba'ofen klali. This is a general idea that we're going to talk about, and the Rav is going to come into specifics with this. The klali seder yitzias ha'oras the chakudim b'peh the ak v'chazaras the peh, and how it is that they come back into the mouth again. The reason for this is gamnis boyers seder chazaras ha'oras b'kelim. So we also have this order of how the kelim, the lights are going to go back into the kelim. Ba'atim mivar harav beprat, as we get more detail, called spheres seder yitziyasa b'bechinosa shekona. So what's going to be the new aspect that we're going to build here?
Okay.
Okay, so we'll read every other one, if it's okay with you.
Yeah, okay. V'hinei kulam yatzu v'chinas nefesh levad. This is the beginning of the topic. Can I just read the blurb on the top?
We have a new topic? Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yisbar sha'eres hayetzim ein lahem el b'chinas nefesh bir hakosov nishba Hashem b'nafshay. So these eres are only a b'china of nefesh, and that has to do with the pasuk of nishba Hashem b'nafshay. What is it when he says b'chinas nefesh? He means as it relates to something else.
So did we discuss?
Nefesh ruach neshama chai yechida. Yeah, okay.
Okay, we mentioned it. Okay, yeah, that's right.
We said earlier, sha'eres ha'akudim lo yatzu shleimim b'hispashtus harishona. They did not come out complete in their first hispashtus when they came out. They had to go back to the matzil to become complete. When they first left, they did not contain all the 5 aspects within them. I guess that would be, if they would have had all 5, that would be something that was complete. But they didn't have all 5 aspects, which are Shehim Nefesh Ruach Neshama Chai Yechida. Ella B'chinas Nefesh Levad. They only had one B'china, the B'china of Nefesh. Shehim Madrega HaNemucha B'Yoser. That's the lowest level. Kol HaChamesh B'chinas Halalu. V'L'Halin Yisbar Eza B'chinas Nitosef L'Chol Sfira. Which ones were added on to each Sfira?
V'zeh Sod Pasuk. This is the Pasuk of Amos. He says, Nishba Hashem Havaya B'Nafsha. So later we're going to find that we're getting to Shar Nikudim. Commotion is Bar Besetz Hashem and Shar Nikudim, Perikalef. Vuhan Nikra Shem Avaya. So Nikudim, he says, is Tzilus. So in that area, it's a deep subject actually, is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Vuhan Nishba B'mi Shagala B'menu. So it swears by that which is greater than itself. Fuhu Olam Hakudim Haniskar. This is Olam Hakudim. Now, what he means to say is that this is a development that we're talking about, and there's a panemius to the element, which means there's a panemius here, and that panemius means that part which came first. So before the Tzilus develops, before the name Kud Kei Vav Kei could be manifest in the world, you had a Kudim first. So this is
like the earliest, like Akudim is the earliest, like the highest level in the world.
Yeah.
At least that we.
Well, okay, that's good. So, we understand that the Akudim, before the Akudim is Ak. So, right. So you could go more and more and more Panimi, but it's like showing you there's a roadway back to the source. This is the ultimate, I think, concept like of tshuva, of coming backwards by being able to picture where it's coming from. But anyway, that's my thinking. So, u'v'zer mivoyer harav so the pasuk nishba havaya b'nafsha. V'chabirku ki havaya meramez al olam hanekudim hayotzim min anayim da'ak. When we talk about the name Havaya, Then we're talking about the Nikudim. They come from the eyes of Ak. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what's coming out of the pad of Ak. And we're going to say that is going to develop into what we call the Olam Atikun, which is the Olam Atzilus, which is what we want to deal with in this world. Which has a place. Where is the place? So and all the way down to the bottom of the soul. Atzilus itself is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Trust me, we'll get to that. B'shar hanikudim b'arichos. B'derech hanishba, so this derech that he's swearing about, who shenishbecha b'mi shegoda b'meno, that it swears by he, that is the nikudim we're talking about here, by that which is greater than them. V'lechem amra kasev she'olam atzilus hazeh ha'omed min atibur lamata of Ak, Nishba mebedrega shuhu yosach al yoniv b'mena, which is the part that's going from the pad of Ak down to the tibur of Ak, shuhu olam ha'akudim ha'omad ad tibur. V'lama nikrach olam ha'akudim b'nafsho. So why are we using that word? He said b'ki ha'oris ha'akudim yatzer rak b'bechinas nefesh bilvad, that when they come out, the light. So let's imagine that the light of Chai Yechida are called makifim. So those particular lights are going to be very, very powerful. So what's the lowest one is going to be the nefesh. So the nefesh comes out first. The oros, which are the akudim, kiblu achar mikan gam mishar bechinas, they're going to get aspects from everything else. Mikol makom kevin shabitziyasim lo hoya ala bechinas nefesh, but since they were only this lowest level, because it is the lowest level of light.
Okay, we said Tamek Vitira, and from here we could see how deep how deep is the Machshava of Hashem. Even the high world of Akudim, even that is only a Bechina of Nefesh, which he's saying is like a lower level, like a low level. So the Tiv explains, from here we could go deep and understand the depth of the thought of Hashem. It only has the Bechina of Nefesh, which is the lowest level of the 5 Bechinas of Naranchi. Only the Nefesh could be mamshich, and higher levels than nefesh will not be able to be mamshich or. So from here you can see that how many levels up one has to go until, like, how distant Hashem is from us, that it's many, many steps to get there. If we're already in the high, one of the, the high olam of akudim, and we're only nefesh, so that means that there's a lot more. I guess, like we could see by example, like how much more there must be till the chut of the Ein Sof.
Okay, so we see how it becomes layered. So we say the nature of the light, which is what we really want to transmit, is coming out like this. Let's read the blurb at the top. It says, "Yibor ba'olam akudim yatzo ha'oros mimata lamalo." Now, the lights come out from the lowest one first. That is Malchus. Then the next one would be Yesod and all of that. Kol Sefira Yesh Lo Narantchi Shleba, but each one of them has its own Narantchi. So what does he mean? What does he mean by that? So number Kaf Dalet says, B'nei Kol HaEser Sfiras Yatzel, Avol V'lo Yatzel Yachad Kulam, but they all don't come out the same, or together. Or let's say they all don't come out. Rak B'techidach B'yatzach HaMalchus, it's Malchus that comes out first. Hefech ma'olam anekudim commotion ivoir. He's going to be the opposite of way things work in olam anekudim, which is the next olam, the next shar that we'll be working on. Over there, the top part, the keser comes out first. So her commotion ivoir b'makom b'be'ezes Hashem. So he writes, Atacham b'voir harav hemshech yitzias oras the chakudim b'ped ak, how they continue and flow down. Lokamon, he says in Bashar HaNekudim in Perak Daled, is Yispor Sheba'olam HaNekudim, Yotza Dechida HaKeser. Keser came out first. V'achakach Chochma, B'chein Al Derek Zeh, they go from the top to the bottom. So now we have the Lamala Lamata, but what we're talking about is Lamata Lamala. Ad Sheyotza HaMalchus, She Achrona Tachtona HaBekulim, so Malchus comes out then. It's the last one, but it's the lowest one. Here in Akudim, it's the opposite. The first thing is a revelation of Malchus, and then they keep going back. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Until the Kesser comes out at the end.
Well, okay, Malchus Zu, he Yitzias Yatzis Bebechinas Nefesh Levad. And this Malchus that comes out, we're saying in Akudim that comes out first, is a Bechina of Nefesh, only a Bechina of Nefesh. Va'ata Be'es Yitzias Ha'eres Min HaPeda'ak, when the Eres leave the mouth of Ak, Yatza HaMalchus Shi Partzov Nefesh Techlolos, which is a Partzov. What does Partzov mean?
Well, Partzov is a system of light, a system of light, of the nefesh to klalos. It means that the nefesh part of the naranchi. So it's the bottom part that comes out of the bottom. It comes out from the bottom sphera. So it has only this dim light in it. Let's say.
Okay, v'lo niskalaba rak v'chinas nefesh ovad. It only has the bechina of nefesh. V'lo niskalaba kol hanaranchi shalo. The whole, it doesn't have the other bechinas, just nefesh. V'chein kol bechino lo niskalaba be'es yitziyasa. Rak bechinas nefesh v'vad. And so too, on top of Malchus, so anything higher, even the spheres that are higher than Malchus, it only comes out. The that comes out is only the bechina of nefesh.
Right. Okay. So he writes, Ki ein sphera she'ein bo chamisha bechinos. Every sphera has 5 different aspects. Shehem, the first one is nefesh, then goes to ruach, then goes to neshama, then number dalet is chaya, and number 5 is going to be Yechida Kenoida. Amnam Ata lo yatsa rak bebechinas nefesh bilvad. But now at the beginning, the lower one comes out first. But Tzarek the das the call Svira Kolula bechamesh bechinas pratios nefesh ruach neshama chay Yechida. V'chein chamesh is a partzufim. Also the 5 partzufim shehein rich abba ima zer anpin v'nukve. Gam hein mischalkin keneged narantchi. They also have their own narantchis too. So in other words, they're divided up as a part of the Naranchi, but often parts of a Malchus, who bechinas nefesh to klal. So if you look at the whole Naranchi, it's going to be the nefesh part. But parts of Zer Anpen, who bechinas ruach to klalos. But parts of Ima, who bechinas neshama the klalos. But parts of Abba, who bechinas chaya the klalos. It's the aspect of the chaya the klalos. The parts of Arich, who bechinas yechida the klalos. So you see, there's another one of these matches. Because echad min the partzufim halalu, each one of these, gam hu kolam bechamesh bechinas the rantchi, but each one of them has its own the rantchi pratius. Gavisha cause of a RABBI Chaim, we have in the base Chaim, the Chaim, Shar HaMochim, Sof Perak Hey, Va'od Makomos. I just want to read that so we hear the words, that's all. So this is really similar to a child when it's born. Hagam sheyesh b'chabarak seichel moed, it has a minimal amount of mind, let's say. Im kol zecha b'noiled b'guf, but shalem, but it has had, tok rosh tok sof. It's together. Hakolam aramach, it has 248 avarim. B'shan sagedim shalemin. Ukol shachuk godach of netoisa, but as it starts to grows onto or adds onto it, lo bechinas amagdilus, so bechinas amochim, that there's an aspect that comes in that grows it. Bechinas amochim, which is we're going to call by a new word. I think we have a new word here, which is the beginning of mochim. However, it's which is what? Brain power or gray matter from the brain. It says some aspect of mind comes in and grows it. Both in shetachidach of yesh lo nefesh. And afterwards is going to receive the ruach v'kein chola. All of them eventually will receive all of them. So let's see what he means by that. So as we're receiving these mochim, In other words, once again, the gray matter or whatever moach means, I think it means like mind power. So, but the first, any sphera, the first bechina that it's going to receive, at least at Olam HaKudim, is going to be bechinas nefesh. So therefore, the spheres of Akudim, so each one of them comes out only in that aspect of nefesh. He refined some of what he was going to say, what he was saying, to tell you that one bechina of the 5 bechinas is what comes out in each sphera as they return from the pad to Ak to where their kalim are located. The kalim are located. Okay, there's a blurb, I think, on number Kaf Zion. Let's take a look at that.
Yisbar shechalukas oiros achaf, which is oznayim chotem peh.
Right.
Gam kein al derech nara nefesh ruach neshama v'hapeh hu bechinas hanefesh. So I guess it's like the oizen chotem peh is the oizen is the top and the peh is the bottom, and nefesh is the bottom of nefesh ruach neshama. So those are equal to each other.
Okay, something like that.
V'nir lefi aniyas daiti l'kasher drush zeh. It seems fit to me to connect this, what I'm saying, in drush shenichtav be'ezras Hashem, with the following thing that I'm going to say. Ki bechinas oizen hi neshama. Because the oizen, the ear of Ak, is the neshama. Chotem hu ruach. V'hapeh nefesh. So those 3 line up with those 3. The commission is bar lamata b'drush zeh atzma, like I'm going to explain. V'hine ani choshev, I think, b'vadai sheshamati mimeri zecher
Zilha. Yeah,
Zilha.
it's Zecher the Corona, the Vrocha, and there's something else.
It means Arizal, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Okay. So he thinks that he heard this, he's pretty sure that he heard this from the Arizal. Ki bevadai kasher yotzu kol ha'eser spheres ha'elu, when these 10 spheres come out, bo kol ha'bechinas shel naranchi kalulim bohem. All of them, all the bechinas of naranchi are all in the eser spheres. Ela shevetchila le niskal behen ela bechinas nefesh levad. But it only the bechina of nefesh was revealed. Commission is bar b'drush nishmas adam hatachtoin in the Chaim shar tal.
Tal, right. It's a big shar in the Chaim.
Okay, shevetchila b'em kulam biyachad. Originally they were all together. V'achar kach niskal kol echad b'echad b'fnei atzmai nefesh v'achar kach ruach, and so on. And I guess that's he's just telling us this is just the beginning of this process.
Mm-hmm.
So Marino Rav Chaim Vital Meisif Levar Lama Kol HaBechinas Yatzu Tchila Rak Bechinas Nefesh Olahen. So why is only the nefesh coming out over here? V'Inyan Hu Lefi Sheyesh Seder Hischalkos Ba'eres Shel Oizen Chaytim Peh. There's a way of dividing up the eres of the Oizen Chaytim Peh. The Bechinas Nefesh Ruach Neshama, that they could be associated with the respective Nefesh Ruach Neshama. Eres Oizen Heim Bechinas Neshama. The Oizen is the eres of the Neshama. The eres Achoyte Heim Bechinas Ruach. Remember, like the pasuk says, Kol Asher Nishmas Ruach Chaim Ba'apav. So Apav over here means nose, and he's saying that you see that Ruach, the pasuk like puts Ruach and nose together, so the Ruach is in the nose.
Good.
So that's why the eres of the Chaytim are connected to Ruach. But eres hapeh him bechinas nefesh. L'fizeh, based on this, ein nucha lefarish kipshuta shekavonas harav lemer. You can't say that it's kipshuta what Rav Chaim Vital is saying. Shekol sfira ba kishehi klula mechamesh bechinas naranchi.
Bad idea. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Rak shaliyos shehem eres hapeh. Shehu bechinas nefesh. Shaliyos shehem eres hapeh. Shehu bechinas nefesh. Because the eres hapeh are the bechina of nefesh. Lochein lo neskal behem rak bechinas nefesh bavad. The reason why in the eres hapeh is only bechinas nefesh is because that's what comes out of peh. B'shar habechinas shehem ranchi, which is the ruach nefesh chaya and yechida, hayu behelim, they're hidden. B'chol sheyatzu eres nesafim, and the more lights that come out, neskal b'chinas nesafis b'chol spira sheyatzu kodim l'chein. The more light comes out, the more it's going to reveal in the previous, in the sphere that already came out. You'll be able to see more b'chinas. Marav may be raya lazeh minishmas adam atachlein, from a section called nishmas adam atachlein shebe'es hivodai, when a person is born nolad im kol b'chinas naranchi.
there it sounds like, I guess, the Chaim Vital says that the person is born with all the bechinas of Naranchi, Rak Shetchila Mizgala, Rak Chelach HaNefesh Shabai, but only the nefesh is revealed. Achar Kach, and when it then, Kishanizgala, when it gets older, Mizgala Chelach HaRuach, then we could now see the Ruach, meaning it sounds like B'chein Shar Bechinas, it's already there, but it's just not Nizgala, as opposed to it not being there at all. So in the same way, over here when we say that the coming out of the Peda'ak is that's B'chinas Nefesh, really the other Eris are there, but we just can't see them. There's no Gilui for them.
Okay, so I have this metaphor that I've used of a bar light with 5 bulbs. And when the electricity comes into the bar light, the one that starts up is going to be the furthest away one. It's going to be the Nefesh one. And then later, the other lights will all be illuminated, but we'll have to see how that pattern works. And that's where we're going now. So we have just a little bit of time left. And let's see the blurb at the top, so give us an idea. Just like you said before. But that nefesh that's coming from Yesod, Tosefes Ha'ara and the Malchus Shenizgala B'chinas Ruach. It causes a Tosefa of Ha'ara to go into Malchus, that the Malchus here is the B'chinas of Ruach. That is, it brings into Malchus the aspect of Ruach. But Tam Lazeh, what's the reason? Gam Yisboyer Shesfiras Chagat Nai. So, have we seen this phrase before?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so he says that these are the lower 6 spheres, which the spheres is their anpin. Mischalkim the Shisha Holokim, they're divided into 6 different places. V'gam Tosefes Ha'ara shal B'chinas Ruach, and also added into that the aspect of Ruach, l'malchus mit the mischalik the Shisha Holokim. So it also adds these 6 pieces into Malchus. So let's just see a little bit here, number Kaf Ches, how much of this we can read in the time that we have. If you want to go a little further, we can, but it's up to you.
Yeah, we can finish it. We can finish the Chaf Ches.
Yeah, let's go to Chaf Ches, through, it goes down to Lamed Gimel. Can you go that far?
What time is it?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We could try.
Okay, let's see. B'hinig asher b'yatza achar kach b'chinas yesod. Lo nizgala b'yesod rak b'chinas nefesh. The yesod itself comes out as a nefesh bilvad la'atzmo. Aval netoisev ha'ara b'malchus shenizgala bar b'chinas ruach. But now, because the light of the yesod is a bigger light, or a stronger light than the light of malchus. So that nefesh that's in yesod is going to be a stronger light than the nefesh that's in malchus. Let's see what he means. This bar malchus called bechinas narantchi, and it comes out with his whole narantchi. This galabo rock bechinas and nefesh. But like I said, in the bar light, only one light lights up. Malchus, then after that, yotza or spheres so that's the next one. It also comes out, it is a bar light too. The mizgala hamenda rock bechinas nefesh, but what you have there, once again, only one light will be lighted up. Shabo. And this causes a multiplication of light. The light grows inside of the original malchus. So now the second light, a bulb of the bar light, lights up. Besides the nefesh that was already there, it came out like that. You can look at that later if you want to. It's going to give you the bar light idea. I like my bar light idea.
Okay.
Go.
The reason why, when one, even though the 2 lights it sounds like are really the same bechina, but yet it lights up the second light, is because the ruach comes from the shisha ketzavos kanoida. What does that mean?
We're going to see that the ruach is composed of 6 parts, not 1. It's 1 part which is divided into 6, and those 6 are called chagat nai, chesed gevurah teferes netzachot yesod. That's always this way it is. It's related to the letter vav later on, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay. L'chein b'voya ha'yesod, when the yesod comes out, the yesod comes out, maskal is galas b'malchus b'chinas ruach. So it sounds like the yesod has really a chilek of ruach in it, or it is the light of ruach.
It is, not that it's the light of Ruach. It is that the light of Yesod, which is Yesod, is a higher level light. So as a result of that, it has an effect. It's a word relative. Relative to Malchus, Yesod is a stronger light. So therefore, as it's coming out, it's shining, and we haven't talked about how it shines, but we're saying it's shining into Malchus. And as a result of that,
Malchus with the bechinas ruach.
That's it. Go.
What's the reason why the Yesod is Gerim that the Bechinas Ruach comes out, shines out? Mishum shebechinas haruach hu keneged hashisha k'tzavos sheheim sheish sfirat tzesed gura teferes netzach ha'id Yesod. So the Bechinas Ruach is keneged the shisha k'tzavos, which are the chagas nahai.
He has a chassid nahai, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Ki malchus nikra nefesh. Malchus is called nefesh. V'chagat nahai nikra ruach. U'lachein yetze ha'yesod miped ak goyrim sheyer v'yitosef b'malchus b'chinas ruach. So you're saying that the relative to the malchus, even though the yesod itself really also has its own b'chinas aranchi of the five lights.
It's only a nefesh. It's only a nefesh. But he's saying...
Oh, it's only a nefesh, but relative to the malchus, it's ruach.
Well, its light causes a greater electric current go into the bar light, and it lights up another one of the lights, the light called ruach. That's what he's saying. So he said, "But this is something to understand. A little trick in here. It says that it's not that it starts to light up as soon as you get the chesed comes out, and then the gevura like this. They all have to come out before it lights up the ruach and malchus. Call hashisha kitzvos shehem yisodo ad chesed, which are from yisod to chesed because they're coming out backwards. He said, "Az nigbach bechinas ruach kula shal malchus," and when all of those six come out, now you're going to have a ruach and malchus. Babo kol echad mechem choyim izgala b'malchus k'tzat k'tzei echad shal ruach. So it adds a little bit. The light is very dim in the ruach part of the bar light, but as they come in, they light it up a little bit dim, and then it keeps getting brighter and brighter until all six of them are in there, and it really lights up that light. Mashin netased ruach b'malchus eina kol b'chinas haruach b'shleimos. Ela chelik echad meshisha chalokim shal haruach. Kevin Yesod levado eno ela chelik echad machashisha kitzvos, so that Yesod is only, it's one part of the shisha kitzvos, which if not now but later it's going to be called the vok. Called sphira min havok nikra k'tzei echad. So each one of them is called a k'tzei. Whatever k'tzei means, it's a point or it means a place. V'kulam yachad nikra shisha kitzvos. Today they're called the vok or the shisha kitzvos. But Tosefes or Sheditosef, Bespheres of Malchus, Be'e Sheyatzach of Beshar as Spheres the Vok, Lo Choya Ela Rak Achashashi Echod Meshisha Shalaruach. So the first one, Be'ofen Shalom Nishna Bakal Bechinas Ruach the Malchus, the Shlemos, Rak La'acha Yatzach Chesed the Rakudim, only when the final one comes in. That is the one of Chesed. So you went from Yesod up to Chesed. They come in little by little, and when the final one comes in, it's like a makkah b'patish. It lights up that second light within the bar light of Malchus. Sha'askavar Yatzer called the Shisha Kitzvos B'Yisod Ad Chesed. Now they're all out.
Okay. Can we stop here?
Yeah, absolutely. This is number. Okay. We'll stop right here. I think we should probably go back a little bit, but that's okay. We could do whatever we want. This is. Okay, thank you very much for coming in and learning with me. Yeah, all the best.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Go.
Thank you for your time and for teaching.